RFA, 28th of February 2024, Indian Tibetans march in support of those detained in China during a protest against a dam. At the moment, China is occupying Tibet illegally and is making every effort to enslave the people and eradicate their culture. On Wednesday, Tibetans and Buddhist leaders from northern India took part in a march to demonstrate support for Tibetans detained in the Sichuan region in southwest China for peacefully opposing the proposed dam development. Similar protests supporting unity were staged in London and other places on the same day. The sizable Buddhist minority in Ladakh, Jammu and Kashmir has voiced worries about the dam project's potential to drown several noteworthy monasteries that house historic murals from the 13th century. According to the Regional Tibetan Youth Congress, which organized the march and rally, Buddhists were worried about the humanitarian situation and the infringement of cultural and religious rights due to the dam's anticipated impact on several monasteries and communities around the Drichu River. More than 1,000 Tibetans, including monks and locals of Drichu County in Sichuan's Kurds Autonomous Tibetan Prefecture, were taken into custody by the authorities on February 23. The protesters were against the building of the Gangchuo Dam, which is intended to provide electricity. According to individuals who spoke with RFA, if the power plant is completed, it might submerge monasteries in the Wangbuding township of Drichu and force the people living in at least 2 villages close to the Drichu River to migrate. The president of the Ladakh Buddhist Association, Lay's Youth Wing, Rigzin Dorji, stated that the communist regime of China's continuous violations of human rights and devastation of the environment must be addressed immediately. He emphasized how all Buddhist communities are interconnected and that our collective duty is to support the Tibetan people in their fight for freedom, fairness, and dignity. Collaborative dedication. The march is an expression of solidarity and support for Tibetans facing challenges and oppression in Drichu County, according to Lobsang Sering, vice president of the Regional Tibetan Youth Congress of Ladakh. Sering states, it represents a collective commitment to opposing oppression, advancing human rights, and defending Tibetan culture and identity in the face of hardship. Tenzin Pelton, a participant in the Ladakh March, stated that although Tibetans worldwide typically come together to express their opposition to China on politically significant occasions like March 10, Tibetan Uprising Day, which remembers the thousands of people who died in the 1959 uprising against China's invasion and occupation of their homeland, it is even more critical that they unite during dire circumstances such as the one that the Tibetans and Drichu are currently facing to speak out against China's oppression collectively. She said, I implore all Tibetans living in exile to hold on to their hope and to keep spreading the word about the predicament of Tibetans in Drichu County on social media platforms. In addition, there were protests in London outside the Chinese embassy, in Beer Village in Clement Town in India, and in Drichu County, where Tibetans staged demonstrations to support the Drichu County protesters, demand the release of the detainees, and urge an immediate stop to the dam building. The Tibetan Community UK released a statement saying, Tibetan residents of Kamderj, Drichu County, have shared images and videos of the protest with the outside world, risking arrest and torture. They want their plight to be known and their voice to be raised by the international community and the free world. RFA said on Tuesday that about 40 of the monks who had been detained were freed by the authorities on February 26 and 27. According to individuals who wished to remain anonymous out of concern for their safety, Chinese officials freed roughly 20 monks apiece on Monday and Tuesday. Human Rights Watch demanded on Wednesday that the Tibetan monks whom Chinese officials were holding be released right away. The group's acting China director, Maya Wang, issued a statement saying, the Chinese authorities have long been hostile to public protests, but their response is fierce when the protests are by Tibetans and other ethnic groups. Other governments ought to put pressure on Beijing to release these demonstrators who were wrongfully imprisoned for simply exercising their fundamental rights, she stated.